Hello everybody. So today we're going to be working on the Retroflag GPi case. What we're going to be doing is replacing the D-pad with a Game Boy Pocket D-pad. Now I've already gone ahead and replaced this unit's D-pad with the Game Boy Pocket. You can tell the difference between the two. The Game Boy Pocket has arrows on it, and the GPi has kind of like lines, I guess you could say. So there is quite a difference between them. So let's get started. Some tools that you'll need in order to do this project: your GPi dual-sided screwdriver, as well as a pry tool. I suggest using a pry tool over your flathead screwdriver because you don't want to damage the side of your case, because you will have to try and break this open. Well, not break it, but pry it open. And this is probably the best tool that you can use, is some sort of a pry tool that won't damage the side of your case. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to remove the battery door, take out our batteries, and then we're also going to remove the cartridge as well. That'll reveal 6 screws you're going to have to remove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's go ahead and start removing those. Now, these might not come out, but as long as they sit in the case, you'll be okay. So, if you're going to be doing this, I do suggest either using a very well magnetized tip on a screwdriver, or just make sure you're on a desk that doesn't that you can't lose the screws in or on, let them fall off, whatever. Okay, now that that is all set, now we can go ahead and pry apart our case. I do suggest going up on the upper top rails. Either side will do, doesn't really matter. It is a little bit harder to do it from the thicker end, the bottom back half, whatever. So we're just going to go ahead and pry in between here, and you're going to hear the clips pop. Okay, that lets you know you're doing it right. And then you just kind of slide it down, just kind of like a credit card. Once you do that, you'll see you'll have one side open. Now, once you do that, you can see that there's a ribbon cable inside there. So just be careful when you pry this apart. You don't want to use too much force. So we're going to try and pry it a little bit and get it apart. Okay. So now, like I said, there's a ribbon cable there. You don't want to try and loosen that or anything, because it's kind of a pain to get that into. And you can end up damaging the connector that's on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the back half and slide it up and over. And then we're going to rest the front end on the back half of the case. Now here you're going to be removing 5 screws. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This will release your PCB board. These are a little hard to get out, especially with the GPi, the Retroflag screwdriver that they supplied you with. It will kind of strip it a little bit, so just, take your time with it. Don't strip the screws, because you're just going to have a bad day. Little follies here and there. And one to go. Now, normally I'd be using a powered screwdriver like that, but I figured I'll show you guys exactly how this goes down if you're using manual power. Okay, so now we got all the screws out of the PCB board. Now all we have to do is just place your two fingers on the sides, on the edge of the front of the case here, and grab that micro USB connector and just pull up. Once you pull up, you'll feel everything come out. And be careful not to lift it too high, because you will notice that your LCD screen is kind of popping out here. Okay, so you want to make sure that that's still intact. Another thing that tends to pop out a lot is the power button. We'll get to that when we reassemble. So, pretty self-explanatory. Here's all your buttons right here. Your D-pad, your start and select, and all your buttons. So you can swap anything out at this point. I do suggest trying not to touch the little black contact pads, because those are what contacts the board. And if there is any type of oil from your fingers, it can throw off the board in terms of button presses. So, again, this one's already been replaced, but let's just say for sake that we're replacing the GPi. All right. So you just go ahead and you remove the rubber pad. Go ahead and remove the D-pad. And we're going to go ahead and place the Gameboy Pocket D-pad inside there. There is a notch on the Pocket, but it doesn't matter which way you put it. You can put it in the upper right. You can spin it around, put it in the lower right. It doesn't matter. It does not matter where it goes. You can put it any way you want. All right, so once that's all set up and ready to go, we're good to assemble it back together. So again, keep your thumb on the LCD where there is nothing on there, because you want to keep your fingers away from the LCD screen. As you can see, I already put some fingerprints on this one. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and lay this down. And we're going to try and reset it in there. So there's two things you want to make sure that are set properly in. One is your speaker, and then one is the LCD. And once those two are set, we can carry on with putting everything back together. Okay, so again, here's the power switch. All you have to do is just lift up the board a little bit. Slip that up over, and there you go. Of course, never a dull moment. Okay. So now all you have to do is basically put this all back together the same way you did. Take it apart. And then we'll go ahead and test the case out. Actually, this is not even seated 100%. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to use the power screwdriver just because it makes things a lot faster for the video. Now, when I tend to put screws back in, I usually do a crisscross style pattern. You don't necessarily have to do this, but it's just something that I learned over the years, so it's just something that kind of stuck with me when I did screws. Okay, so once that's back together, we're going to go ahead and flip that back down. And then we're going to put our case back together. Now, the easiest way to line this is there's these metal prongs right here. We're going to go ahead and align this inside the case. And once those are aligned, then we are good to go. All right. Now that's all aligned. As you can see, there's just a little bit of gap in between them. All you have to do is just press it together and you'll hear it all snap together. Okay, and just go around each and every corner, snap it together. Okay, and now, again, screw in your screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to use the other screwdriver for these ones. They're a little deep. Okay, and then test it out. We're going to put our batteries back in. Put the door back on. Put our cartridge in. Start it up. Now this one's got my custom image. It's got the boot screen removed from it, and then it also has a custom splash screen enabled on it too. So it's going to start here in a second. I will have this image available later on tonight, so you guys can pick it up. And then once it plays through this, we can test out the D-pad, up, down, left, right, so on and so forth. Alright, so once that's started, we're into our custom theme on here. And basically we're just going to test out the D-pad. So right, left, right, left, right, left. Very, very responsive, as you can see. Very, very responsive. We're going to go into a menu, and then we're going to test the up, down. Left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down, up, down, up, down, left, right. And that's pretty much it. You have successfully put the Game Boy Pocket D-pad into your case. You can do that same exact uninstall, reinstall, however you want to say it, to do buttons. I am working with someone to do custom colored buttons for these, so stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Hope this helped.